Welcome to Addicted to Real Estate TV. On today's episode, we're going to talk about take the bath of your life with Mr. Housing Bubble.
To say you gotta know somebody, or know somebody to get somewhere these days. To say you know that's alright, yeah that's alright, cause you know that's alright with me. Yeah, you know that's alright, yeah that's alright, cause you know that's alright.
Hi, I'm Phil Falcone, your host of Addicted to Real Estate TV. Today's episode was sponsored by Executech Suites Green Screen Studio. If you want to make videos for your website or for Facebook or produce your own web TV show like I'm doing here, check them out at the phone number above or the website below. Costs can be really affordable, only $50 an hour for the studio if you know what you're doing. And if you need assistance producing and editing the video, that'll cost somewhere between $300 and $600, depending on how complicated you need your video. So give them a call at the phone number above or the website below. Okay, so in today's episode, we're going to talk about take the bath of your life with Mr. Housing Bubble. What I want to do is I don't want to make fun of what's going on right now, but what I want to do is I want to make sure that I learn from it. So the first thing that comes to mind is, what can we learn from what we see going on around us? Well, the number one thing that I've changed in my life and what I've determined I can learn from all of this is that one of the worst ways that you can do a real estate deal is a conventional deal where you put down 20% and you go to a bank, okay, and you sign the papers 80% for a mortgage, okay, or whatever the hell the percentages are. It doesn't matter, because if the bank is involved, you're signing for this thing personally, and that's a dangerous thing, my friends. Gurus like Pete Fortunato or people who I follow have made it very clear to me that that is a really dumb way to buy a house, and I'm not calling you dumb because I spent the bulk of my career buying houses that exact way. But I've learned that there are better ways to do it today. Now, one of them in particular is what I'm doing a lot today is I buy properties and I put the property in the name of a trust. So if I buy 123 Oak Lane Trust, 123 Oak Lane property is put in the name of 123 Oak Lane Trust, okay? And when I sign for that, I'm signing Phil Falcone Trustee. Now, why does that matter? I'll tell you why. Because I am not signing personally. I'm signing as the trustee for that particular corporation, that trust, which owns one house. Now, that subject house can be taken from whoever the lender is, which in most cases is a private lender, or it's a subject to financing of existing financing, or it's seller financing, or it's a combination of all those things. But the point is that the only thing that that trust owns is that particular house. So it gives you some insulation between yourself and all of the other things that you own, like your primary residence, okay? And, to me, it's just a crazy thing. I certainly don't want anyone coming to take my primary residence and along with all the other things that go with it. Let's face it. I mean, I've had enough meetings with people who are losing their home, and it's, it's a terrible thing. It's embarrassing for them. They've lost their self-esteem, They have to uproot their own family, and in the eyes of your children, having not be able to keep your own house, that's a very difficult thing to deal with. And I certainly don't want to have to ever experience that on my own level. So, if you default on a property that you have a trust in, you have a lot more options. You're much safer, okay? You're losing a lot more than just your home in a lot of these situations. The strain on a marriage is incredibly difficult. You might end up losing your wife in the process. And who knows? I mean, if you lose your home and you lose your wife, you know what? You lost your life. And, your life is going to be turned upside down because of a decision to sign a mortgage with a bank where you're signing personally for it. Come on, there's better ways to do it. And if you don't believe me, you need to be watching more of these TV shows. And you need to be reading this book right here, Addicted to Real Estate, Why I Can't Stop and Why You Should Start. And there's a lot of tips and tricks in here for real estate investors that you're going to need to know to make sure that you protect yourself going forward so that this kind of thing that's going on in the market today never happens again, and specifically never happens to you. All right, so when the bubble pops, when Mr. Housing Bubble, when the bubble pops, and your bank account is clean as a whistle, all right? That's a problem we don't want to have, all right? So So trust, when you buy a house in a trust requires a separate bank account because checks are going to get written to you at 123 Oak Lane Trust, and those checks will need to be deposited into a bank account in the name of 123 Oak Lane Trust. So your bank account won't get cleaned as a whistle because your personal bank account will be separate from the trust bank account. Okay? Let's talk about some other things. You see on this funny picture behind me, it says 75% off 2004 prices. Well, you know, that might actually be accurate. I don't know. I've thought about that a lot myself. And I'm starting to think that we're somewhere in the range today. When you come across a property that's difficult to comp, I go by 2003 comps right now. I'm actually looking at pricing in 2003 levels and thinking that that's where my offer should be. I typically do that when I don't have a lot of data to support the purchase that I'm making right now, especially if it's a unique commercial piece of property where there really aren't any comps, and in my business I find a lot of those kind of things. So that's what I've been doing. I've been actually looking at 2003 pricing levels, and I'm not even sure, but we may be looking at 2002 pretty soon, because things are definitely highly unusual out there. Another thing I'm doing is I'm trying to hold on as much of my cash as possible. And if I'm putting my cash out there, 40 cents on the dollar, man, that's the offer I'm getting. So if it's a $100,000 house, it's 40 grand in cash. And for the most part, those deals get rejected by just about everybody. And I'm almost glad that they do, because those aren't the kind of deals that I want. I want the deals that have the minimum money down. I want the deals that come with seller financing, that come with subject to mortgages, that come with financing. I want a house that I'm going to require none of my own money and also give me the financing that comes with it. Bottom line is that I just don't trust comps. I don't trust them today. Unless you've got a really strong set of comps, you better be damn careful, especially if you're trying to do a flip or something, because 6 months down the road when you're ready to sell this property, who the hell knows where they're going to be. So that's a dangerous, dangerous game. Okay, so let me give you a few ways that I can help you before we get off this video. Make sure you pick up a copy of my book and read it, okay? It's a great book to read, and it's going to give you tons of information. 20 years of experience went into that book for $20. That's only $1 a year. It sounds like a good trade to me. Make sure you put your name and email address in on the front page of my website so you can get this free web TV show where I put out great tips and tricks for real estate investors. And make sure you go to real estate meetings. I have my own meeting called the Real Estate Assembly Line, which I announce from time to time on my web TV show. So if you just sign up for it, you'll get blogs and whatnot. It'll tell you where to go. All right? I'm Phil Falcone from Addicted to Real Estate. Thanks for watching today's episode. Get out there and beat the street. Let's get busy buying. Let's make it happen. Thanks.